It's a madhouse! A madhouse!
Devin, what are we talking about today?
Something with monkeys. I'm assuming.
Not monkeys.
Apes.
You racist bastard. Hashtag cancel Devin.
No, if you start that trend on our videos, people will actually think I'm a racist.
You are a racist.
I'm not a racist.
You've already confused apes and monkeys.
That's
Your species.
That's not race. Though.
Hashtag cancel Devin.
I don't want that hashtag going around.
It's already a thing. We've already made it.
How come you get the cool hashtag? Hashtag Wade's right.
Because I'm right. What are we talking about?
We're talking about Planet of the Apes, specifically the 1968.
Yeah,
68.
And only the original. We're not talking about the other ones because Devin hasn't seen the other ones.
Nope.
We're only talking about the original classic Planet of the Apes.
And Wade says the other ones are trash anyway.
They're not trash. I told you which ones were good, and more of them are good than they are bad.
But let's get into the movie we're talking about today. Are we doing a Let's Talk About? Is that what this is? Okay.
What the fuck do you think this was?
I don't know. I didn't know if we changed the name of it or not.
No, it's just
I haven't been updated on
because I can't think of a better name.
Let's talk about 1968 Planet of the Apes.
I want to hear your thoughts because
you want
you
to hear my
watched
thoughts
it for the first time like a week ago.
Yeah, it was a week from. I think it was a week from today. Actually. Yeah. Initial thoughts. This movie holds up supremely well for being a movie that's over 50 years old at this point. The effects, costume-wise, look amazing, I think. I mean, there's no, like, realism, but in terms of just how good they look for the time, and plus I couldn't have made that nowadays, so...
Yeah, it's really good.
Right. Looks great. I'm surprised they get so many facial features on the actor, like, that actually move with that much makeup on. I was really surprised by that. Because even just them just like sitting there, you can see like kind of how they're expressing emotion through all that makeup. I don't know how that works.
They had to in the making of behind the Planet of the Apes, because I've seen all these fucking documentaries and shit. They said that they had to like overact the fuck
like they had to
out of the movie to get through the makeup in order to see their faces and shit. So they were going.
I mean, like
overboard.
All the facial movements are subtle. Like you have to like be watching, but you could tell. Like it's better than stiff face.
Yeah.
But I think character wise, almost everybody is kind of at least sort of interesting. So that's a plus for me.
I think they're interesting enough.
Enough, yeah. I'm not saying everybody's interesting, but they're enough to keep your attention and care about some of these characters, and or hate some of these.
I don't give a fuck about Lucius.
I was gonna say
he shows up in the third act, and you're like, "Who the fuck's this little ignorant kid? Is he Zero and Cornelius' son?" It's never explained. He's just this fucking kid that comes out of nowhere.
They just found on the street.
All right, cool.
I don't know either. I thought that was gonna be. I thought they had a kid, and that was gonna be it.
They have a kid later.
Yeah, I don't remember the guy's name. What's the main dude's name?
Charlton Heston.
Is that his name?
That's the actor's name.
What's his name in the movie? Taylor.
George Taylor.
George Taylor.
Yeah.
He's kind of a douche.
He's very much a douche. The whole.
But he's
movie.
kind of a likable douche.
Sort of, but I think that's the point of his character. I think it's supposed to be kind of like commentating on the fact that like humans are kind of just like arrogant assholes, and they only really give a shit about himself. Because the whole movie, he only gives a shit. His entire goal is just fuck all of this. I just want to go home.
Even his like fellow astronauts, he's just like fuck them.
Yeah, once he finds out what happens to him, he's just like, all right.
Well, even
I'm
before that, he was just the only reason he asked about him was because he wanted to clear his name. If you think about it, that's the only other time he asked about him. He's like, "You cut him open, you bastard!
You fucking animals!"
He has some great lines though.
He does.
Like delivery and lines. Like he has some great ones.
What does he say? You tore up his brain, you bloody baboon.
Yeah,
so good. So fucking.
It was fantastic. I think even the spaceship that they thought of in that movie is kind of realistic to how it is in the future.
It's kind of cool because we don't see the full spaceship. We only see like
you see the inside,
the front of it when it's sinking.
And you see the inside, and that's it. But like design wise, that's kind of how some spaceships are nowadays. even in sci-fi, they kind of remind me of Interstellar spaceship. It kind of looked the same, honestly.
It does a little bit. Yeah.
And I don't know if Christopher Nolan like took inspiration.
Christopher Nolan's a huge Planet of the Apes fan, probably.
I don't know if he took inspiration off it or what, but it looks kind of similar. But I think one thing that you mentioned during the movie, I think does hinder it, is that it's called Planet of the Apes. I think not calling it that would have made a way better twist, even though I already knew most of the twists in this movie. Anyways.
And I mean, it was based on a book called Planet of the Apes.
Change the titles.
They could have. I think that would have helped the movie a lot more because the book isn't very good, and like Charlton Heston was very candid about it in interviews where like he read the book in preparation. He was like, "Yeah, this isn't good," and like even the author of the book is like, "This is not very good. It's just like a shitty like sci-fi movie." And then Tim Burton, when he did his version, based it a little bit more on the book, and that's why his version shit. But this. They could have easily changed it. They could have changed it to anything.
Do you have anything specific you would change it to? Like you've been thinking about?
I don't fucking know. Just call it like.
The first thing I thought of was just like the Planet of the Unknown or something. Something like that.
Give it some generic title. Better than Planet of the Apes, because.
And then in the trailers, don't show any
Planet
of the
Apes doesn't. It doesn't give away the whole movie, but I think the reveal of like, oh fuck, we're on an ape planet.
Right.
I think it would have been a lot cooler if
they
didn't go in knowing that. I think that would have been kind of neat. But that's not how they made movies, and that's not how they make movies now.
No, it's not.
You gotta get butts and seats.
There are some great shots in this, though. I think, especially towards the beginning.
This is a gorgeous ass movie.
Especially towards the beginning, there's some great shots of them walking and finding out this new planet and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think that's great cinematography. Especially
the shot of all three of them being naked, looking at that planet. It's a very like gay shot because Charlton Heston's like standing there like this, and he's all wet and sweaty, and then both of them bend down, and it's just like a very awkward.
I think it's kind of like the football team thing. Like they all shower together; they're used to it.
I guess, but it looks like they're blowing each other.
Maybe that was the point. Maybe it's a weird gag. I don't know. But and then, honestly, I was a little worried because I knew how it ended. That I wasn't gonna like the middle as much. Like I just thought it was gonna be really slow and boring. But it kept my attention most of the time, even though I knew what was going to happen. And most of the middle of the movie is kind of just Taylor being like, "Hey, I came from this other thing." Like it's kind of a courtroom drama for some of it, where he's kind of just like, "I came from this planet and I speak." Everybody's like, "You stupid idiot!" Yeah, and everyone's just like, "Fuck you! You don't know what the fuck you're talking about." I do hate how arrogant the fucking apes are, though. That bugs me. Like, they're just like, we can't learn anything new. I know it's like a point. It's social commentary. Yeah, and I know that also that the leader apes like know about the humans or whatever, but still, it just bugs me that like no one's just like, why should we believe him? Nobody except for those two. Yeah, Zira and Cornelius. Zira and Cornelius. We're the best characters in the whole fucking franchise. Yeah. I love them. How do you feel about Nova just in general? I mean, do you think she was necessary? No, she wasn't necessary per se. I guess it's somebody for him to like relate to. I don't know. I don't know why she's in the movie, honestly. Just to be hot, I guess. But she doesn't speak. She doesn't help out the plot. She hinders the plot, if anything. That's the only time I remember her doing anything. Is that he was writing that thing in the sand, and she's like messing it up. It's the only time she did anything plot wise. Mm. But other than that, I don't know. She's kind of just. It is weird because she doesn't have an arc or anything at all in this movie. It's kind of hard to give somebody who doesn't speak an arc. Well, I mean, her arc is more in the next movie. In the second one, she has a little bit of like an arc in that. But it's just weird that like she's just like everyone kind of has their own arc. But she's the only one that kind of doesn't. And I understand it's the 60s and fuck women, but it's still a little weird. Do you think she's necessary for the movie? Not really. Not even like she's not even really necessary. She's more necessary in the second one because she kind of when the other person comes in to like we gotta go find Taylor or whatever, she kind of like helps him find it. So she's a little bit more necessary, but even then she's kind of just there to be attractive. I guess. I mean, that's all. That really is all she's there for. What all do you think about this movie, though? I love this movie. This is one of my favorite movies ever. I remember my mom showed me this movie when I was really young, and for some reason, something about it just stuck with me. And I was like, "This is the best fucking thing ever." Planet of the Apes was the first movie where I realized that, like, oh, this is like about something. This like, is like it's real. Not just like Star Wars where there's just like space stuff. Like this is like they're saying something, and I probably didn't understand what they were saying at the time, but I was like, this is some like dark shit. Like they're talking about like slavery, they're talking about like animal abuse, they're talking about like political corruption. all subtly too.
most of it's pretty subtle. I mean, other than the slavery stuff, because
I mean, still they don't come right out and be like humans. I mean, they do say humans
they call
are
them
bad.
like subspecies.
Yeah,
like,
but they don't come out and say they're slaves or whatever.
yeah. But it handles so many things, and I think it does it so well and so kind of subtle to where it's still just like a really entertaining sci-fi movie on its own. I think it's like a masterpiece in a lot of ways.
What are your complaints though, besides the title? I know you have at least something.
I have some. I think the makeup for the time it was revolutionary, and I still think for the most part it looks pretty good. Every now and then you'll notice though, an ape like opens his mouth and you can see the actor's mouth inside of it.
I didn't notice that, but I wasn't like looking for it.
I've also seen this movie like 15 times, so I pick up this stuff. It gets progressively worse as the movies go on.
I'm sure it
But
does.
it gets so bad towards the end. I also think that it is a little strange that Taylor lands on this planet and he's not aware that like this might be Earth. I know they kind of have some excuses to like, oh, there's no moon and like there's random lightning for some fucking reason and it's like this weird atmosphere and there's apes fucking running around. But there's a couple things where I'm just like, it's Earth. Like at some point you'd at least have it in the back of your mind like this might be Earth.
They have been out in space for like 70 years. They just maybe like,
I
what are the
guess.
odds we accidentally land back on Earth?
I mean, I guess that is fair.
I mean, in their terms, it's been like what 2,000 years or something. But like to them,
When they land in the Planet of the Apes, it's been like 2,000 years. Yeah.
But in like terms of like how old they are, it's been like 30 years or something. But yeah, I still don't understand why there's no moon. They just never explained.
I don't know. I think that's never explained in any of the other movies either. But I also think that's one reason why I like this movie so much is because there is a lot of stuff that's like unsaid. Like you don't know really what's like the rest of the world is like because really
True.
we only stick to Ape City, and that's it.
And they say that the apes haven't ventured beyond.
Yeah, except for Cornelius because he's a sneaky bastard.
Even then, he hasn't gone that far.
But yeah, like we only see where Taylor and the astronauts go, and then Ape City, and that's it. We don't know what else is out there. If it would be really cool if they like touched on that a little bit more in the sequels, and maybe there were like other colonies of humans that could like talk, and this was like one of the few places where apes were actually like sentient, whatever. That would have been kind of neat. They don't do that, but
just the fact though that they're in New York makes me think that most of the world is like a waste.
oh, I'm sure most of the world's like fucked, but it's just kind of like it's kind of fun to think about. Like maybe there is some other like human colony out there who with smart humans and shit. Like there could be. They don't know.
I mean, yeah, there could be. But if the new Planet of the Apes movies are prequels, then like, yeah, the whole world's just kind of like, they're dead.
Yeah.
Dead or whatever.
How do you feel about the villain, the antagonist,
What's
Dr.
it-
Zaius?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's his name? Dr.
That fucking
Zaius.
scumbag.
I hated him, which I guess is the point of his character.
Yeah.
So I just hate how, again, he's supposed to be like a scientist or the leader of the science division or whatever, and he's just like, it's not possible. Even like the paper airplane, like flight isn't possible, and he like chucks it. And he's
Well,
like,
it's they're definitely touching on like science and religion and how religion, like people are so devoted to religion that they just refuse to believe in it.
I know, and it pisses me off.
It's all social commentary.
It pisses me off
But it-
in
yeah,
present
it
day
sucks.
when people
Yeah.
do that. So, I mean,
I think he's a great villain though. I think
he.
he's
I
just
mean,
like
he
a-
does his job well.
from start to finish. He's just like a douchebag.
He does his job
And
well.
even when he like the movie, like the climax of the movie, when they find out that like, oh shit, like there was a civilization before us and they were humans and whatever, and Zaius promises not to prosecute Zero and Cornelius when he's like, come untie me or whatever. Then immediately, right as he gets untied, he's like, lock him up, throw him away. It's like
destroy
all right,
the
fuck
cave.
you. Yeah, blow that shit up. Like whatever, fuck you. He's just like such an evil bitch.
That's his whole character, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand the whole cave thing because I kind of knew going into that cave. I'm like, he's not gonna believe him, even if they do find like evidence. So I feel like, I mean, I know, like, I guess when this movie came out, maybe people didn't realize that, and they were like, "Oh, this is suspenseful." I didn't find it
What
that
do you
suspenseful. Just like them, like trying to find evidence, like, oh, the doll, and like it makes noise or whatever. Like it's kind of like, oh, he's not gonna believe him. They
Well,
don't
I mean,
have
that was the whole
evidence.
point. They were trying
Yeah.
everything they could to believe him.
But
he was
even
just
if they
like, "Fuck
found
you."
evidence, in the back of my mind, I was like, he's not gonna believe him.
Well, yeah.
Even if they did.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I didn't find
But
that
he-
as
he-
suspenseful.
But
as
he
it
knew
was.
like the whole time,
Yeah.
that all this shit was bullshit,
Which is he's scumbag.
and the sacred scrolls were bullshit.
Sacred
Which
Scrolls.
is a fun sort of continuity thing, where you could kind of, because the Planet of the Apes continuity is kind of fucked, especially in the original 5 movies. It's fucked. You could kind of write a lot of that off with just like, oh well, they would this thing they would know from the sacred scrolls, and the sacred scrolls were bullshit, so it's probably bullshit. It probably wasn't intentional.
In the newer movies, is that like the rules or whatever supposed to be like the start of the Sacred Scrolls or whatever? Is it?
I think maybe,
Or is that like
because they haven't introduced the lawgiver in the new movies yet. Maybe they will in the new one. But I don't even think we ever really see the lawgiver in the original. I think the lawgiver is like their Jesus in a way. He's just this like fictional character, and they just made up a bunch of shit to like lead this.
Because in
rebellion
this movie, it said there's at least 20 amendments because they say one of them.
There's quite a bit.
Yeah, so I like to think at least that's the beginning of these laws, and they probably went back and changed some, especially to get rid of the human stuff.
Yeah, and they probably changed some stuff too, because over time things get warped, and it's like the Constitution. At the time, like the Constitution was kind of relevant, and then now we warp the meanings of them, and we're just like, oh, this means we can kill brown people. That's also why I love this movie, is because it's very dark.
It's very corrupt government also subtly in there.
Yeah. And none of there's only I think like 2 Planet of the Apes movies that have a happy ending, and I think that is totally fits with the vibe of the series, because it's meant to portray a future that's like, hey, we need to be kind of aware of things, or we're gonna fuck everything. It's not really you're not really supposed to have a happy ending.
I mean, this movie doesn't really have like a super sad ending though.
It's pretty dark that he finds out he's on Earth and he just can't
He's
go back to his
alive.
time.
And he escaped at least.
Okay, cool. But he's stuck on this planet full of apes where humans are essentially
he's got
slaves.
Nova.
He's got cool. He'll be dead in a week.
I just find it really weird that he just like brings her along at the end.
I mean, he does brag earlier on in the movie at how many women he fucks.
I've slept
so I'm
with
sure he could like
so many.
That's such a weird scene, but it's intentional because it's part of his character, and I think it fits. But it's such a weird scene. He's like, "Oh, back on my planet, I slept." With
Yeah, it
so
kind
many
of just
women."
come out of nowhere too.
It's so
like,
weird.
I mean, they weren't talking to each other. Obviously, he was just talking to her.
Yeah.
But he was talking about something else, and he just brought it up.
Yeah.
Like he's been waiting to say it. Like, oh.
Well, he probably has. He saw some hot chick and was like, "Yo, I bang a lot of women."
Plus, that bitch don't even know what you're saying.
Yeah,
She don't
exactly.
speak.
Yeah, but that's the arrogance of fucking Taylor. He's just saying all this shit as if anybody gives a shit or understands anything he's saying. And they don't.
They killed the black guy, Wade. How do you feel about that?
I don't care.
They killed the woman, too.
They killed the woman too. They killed the woman first.
She didn't even have a line.
No,
She's
just
dead.
there.
Are they explained, like, why she died?
No,
not the other 3?
The crack.
Oh, it cracked?
Yeah,
Oh, I
there's a
didn't
big
even
crack in the
notice
thing,
the crack.
The crack. And then she just got older.
I just saw that she had a
in real
wrinkly
time.
face. I was focused on that.
They don't explain that shit. They do go more into the time travel stuff a little bit, which is fun.
In the later movies they go into? That's like the most interesting part of that. Is the big time travel thing.
And I also think that there's a lot of weird editing. And I understand it's the fucking 60s and they made movies differently.
What do you
But
mean?
there's some weird, like, that laugh that he fucking has.
Like, does it
is
zoom?
Very weird. And I understand, like, this
It
is
lasts
a weird
too
movie.
long, also.
But it's a weird movie, but his mouth isn't moving to the laughter properly. He's laughing more than his face is moving.
It's probably dubbed over.
It is. But it's like you could have just dubbed him laughing like a normal person. He
It
looks
lasts
like a
way
lunatic.
too long.
And it
He's
does.
like the Joker.
It
He's
does.
just sitting there laughing.
It really does.
But like I said, he has some great lines that just make up for it.
So
Like the
many
baboon
lines.
one. And
Bloody baboon.
then, of course, the end one. You maniac!
Yeah.
You
Get your
blew it
fucking
up.
paws off me, you motherfucker. He doesn't say that.
No, he doesn't say that.
But that would have been great if he did.
Get your damn hands off me, you
Damn dirty Ape.
Or whatever he says.
Yeah.
I misquoted that.
Get your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape.
Yeah.
It's one of the most iconic lines in all of cinema. How
And
dare
I
you fuck that
it
up?
I fucked it up.
You motherfucker.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
You want to talk about the remake?
No.
A little bit?
No. Not at all. It's garbage. There you go.
It's garbage.
Hey, there's an Abraham Lincoln monkey statue.
Which doesn't make sense. I went back and rewatched that movie. Just real quick. I'm going to rant about this fucking movie.
Go ahead.
Get me the spaceman.
I went back and rewatched this movie because I hadn't seen it in like a decade probably. Because I fucking own it. I own all these goddamn movies for some fucking reason. That ending makes no fucking sense.
It doesn't.
And they're trying to replicate the ending of the original. But the original ending made sense because it was basically just, oh, we just fucked ourselves and we just blew everything up.
The Tim Burton one implies that like
The Tim Burton one is like Thade went back in time somehow,
And
even though we
changed the
literally
future.
saw him 10 minutes ago stuck in this little fucking cage thing. How the fuck did he get out of that before Marky Mark went back to his own time? How the fuck does any of this make sense?
I don't know.
And then Mark Wahlberg's just standing there with all these apes like pointing guns and shit at him. What the fuck, Tim Burton? They tried to make a dumb action movie.
Was
It
that
didn't fucking
intended
work.
to be like a weird spoof?
No, they were trying to make a movie.
Well,
And he was basing it more on the book, and he was like, "Oh, it's a reimagining of the fucking Planet of the Apes," and he just fucked it up.
He just did the same thing and just but worse.
Kind of. Tim Roth is like the best part of that movie, but Tim Roth the entire time is doing a weird Batman voice, and he's jumping around. Unreal. How the fuck do these monkeys know how to jump 10 feet in the air? That's never
They're not
explained.
monkey Wade.
These apes, whatever.
There might be monkeys in the Tim Burton one. Do they even have tails? I don't remember.
No, they don't have tails. I think one of them might.
Tim
If I
Burton fucked that
remember
up too.
correctly. But I don't think they do. Charlton Heston, though, has a really fun cameo in the Tim Burton one, where he plays an old ape who dies. And he's like, fuck the humans, and then he dies.
That was him?
The old
I
one
didn't know
who's
that.
like Thade's like father or whatever. That was
I didn't know that.
fun fact.
Fun fact of the day.
Yeah. Charlton Heston was sort of like the Harrison Ford of the Planet of the Apes franchise.
Yeah.
Because he was very adamant. He was like, I ain't doing any more of these
Kill me
fucking
all.
movies. He made that a stipulation in the sequel. He was like, I'll be in the sequel. I'm only gonna be in it for 10 minutes, and I need to die. Like that was it. And they were like, all right, cool. And then he just didn't show up ever again. Yeah. Spoilers for a 50-plus-year-old movie.
I mean, we didn't say spoilers for this movie.
I don't
so-
give a fuck. If you haven't seen Planet of the Apes, you need to watch Planet of the Apes. It's a great movie. Watch the original, not the 2001 version. Watch
Was it
the.
one? That was 4 or something.
I think it was 2001. I think it was post 9/11.
Maybe.
It was like 9/11, and then this.
You can watch the newer ones. Newer ones are good.
Watch the new ones too. The new ones are great. We have a video on that I still have to fucking upload.
Oh, you haven't uploaded it?
No.
Oh.
I'm lazy.
I don't remember making that video.
We
honestly.
did. We did one about the whole trilogy. Eventually, once Devin fucking watches the rest of these, we'll talk about the rest of them. But
We'll just take clips from all of our videos and just combine them to make one big Planet
yeah,
of
we'll
Apes
probably
video.
do that. Yeah.
Be like, why are they switching
Or we
sides?
can do it like individually, like whatever.
Why are they switching
Who gives a
sides?
shit?
Why are their shirts changing colors?
It would match the continuity of the rest of the series.
Yeah, it's just fucked.
It's just
It's
fucked.
a weird meta.
It would be our meta commentary.
Yeah, it's our meta
It would
comedy.
be totally intentional.
Is there anything else about 68 Planet of the Apes though?
It's so good. The music in it is fantastic. The cinematography in it, I think, is great.
I think the music is a little overboard, honestly, just a little
I
bit.
love it. I love that like there's like drums and like there's bongos and shit in it, but it kind of has this weird like
I like the music.
sci-fi synth to it as well.
Yeah.
Like it merges. It's sort of like Black Panther, where it was like we're gonna merge like sci-fi and hip hop together, sort of, or like not sci-fi, but like African music and like hip hop together.
Yeah.
They do that with this sort of where it's like sci-fi and sort of African type music. I think it fucking worked.
I think sometimes though, just a couple scenes, it's just like too much. I'm like, tone it down a notch.
I love it. I think it's great.
Do you have a favorite scene in this movie though?
I like when Charlton Heston is he first meets Cornelius and Zira, and he makes the plane and he throws it, and Cornelius' mind's just fucking blown. And the whole time Cornelius just doesn't believe him about anything he's saying. He's just like, this is bullshit. Like, fuck you. Then he's at the once he leaves, he's kind of like, fuck, I think he's right. Like it's such a good scene. It's so well acted.
I love it. I love when he throws that plane. He's just like,
yeah, they're They're just staring at.
They
them.
don't even. They don't say anything.
It's so simple and it's so like subtle and well done. It's so fucking good.
It is. I don't know why this is one of my favorite scenes, but one of my favorites was when they were rounding them up for the first time. I don't know why. I just love that.
Because you're a racist bastard.
Like when we first see the apes on the.
That was a very horrific scene.
It was, but
it was meant to parallel like fucking KKK imagery. But shit, you're racist.
I'm not racist. I like that scene. I didn't say I like the KKK. You're putting dots together that aren't there.
But if the KKK did that, you'd be like, "That's a cool scene."
No, I wouldn't.
Because it's the same.
Maybe.
Hashtag canceled that.
It's a movie. It's not real.
Doesn't matter.
It's not even based on real events.
Doesn't matter.
It might be. It might be the future.
Might be the future. We don't know. We can't go
in the year 4000, whatever.
It was 3,957. All right. Fuck you. And they even fucked that up later on too.
Do they?
Yeah, they changed the time period.
God damn
it's
it!
Fucking weird.
Go watch.
I don't know why they did that.
Watch the first movie. And
so weird.
Figure it out. But nothing else you want to say though about this movie?
Great movie. One of my favorites of all time.
It's one of the few you give an actual rating of a 10 out of 10.
I would. If I gave ratings, I would give it a 10.
But Wade doesn't give ratings.
I don't.
Because hashtag Wade's right.
Because I'm right.
You maniacs! You blew it up! Oh, damn you! God damn you all to hell!
There's a weird kiss scene at the end, which I don't.
There is, which I've never understood. Tim Burton also does that in his version, and it's just as weird and bizarre in that as well.
It just comes out of nowhere.
I guess it kind of is supposed to symbolize that the apes are kind of like warming up to humans now, and they're kind of like, hey, we're kind of one and the same, like whatever.
I think Taylor's just a horny bastard.